Quinnipiac University Poll came out, Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump, obviously, and the results are fairly devastating. Now, it's just one poll, although I heard from Nate Silver that this race was 80% over. Hillary Clinton had an 80% chance of winning. Now, you look at this poll.
It's like 75 now.
Okay, yeah.
I've been following the day by day.
Yeah, and not good. Okay, so overall numbers in the swing states that make all the difference in our insane electoral system. Florida, Clinton obviously leading Trump. Wrong, not leading Trump. Losing 39-42. Ohio, it's a tie, 41-41. Pennsylvania, Trump is winning in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania hasn't gone for a Republican in national elections for as long as I can remember. And I've been covering this for 2 decades. I literally can't remember last time. Reagan? Yeah, of course, Reagan, right? But Pennsylvania,
huge conservative sections. I'm surprised.
Every time they call it a swing state, and it never swings. But now it is swinging towards Trump of all people. Now, obvious note of caution. We don't want to Nate Silver this thing. Let's do real facts.
I love that now is to fuck up predictions
or polling.
Which I don't think is totally fair. He's generally very good at his predictions.
I know, you still love him. Okay.
I don't like his editorializing. Okay. I like his polls.
Okay. These are within the margin of error. So in essence, what you have here is a tie. Oh my God, she's tied with Donald the Monster Trump in swing states. She's tied with him.
But that doesn't even mean what people... Look, those polls are bad. Those are bad, and it's astounding that he can be doing as well as he is, especially considering that she's spent like $45 million on general election ads so far, and he has spent $0. CNN has spent a little bit for his campaign, but he has not. So that's bad. But I don't think that the Democratic nominee... Look, some of those are swing states, but the thing about Trump is that he's also opening up other states that Republicans always win that now the Democrats can theoretically win. The electoral map is shifting in fairly chaotic ways. Some of them are good for Hillary, some of them are good for Trump. So that by itself, if this was 8 years ago or 16 years ago, would be horrendous. But it's not 8 years ago and it's not 16 years ago. And I don't think that that shouldn't terrorize us as much as it is in the press today.
No, totally disagree. So now John is right on the facts that for example, North Carolina and Georgia and Arizona are more in play than they've ever been, and so those should not be in play if you're a Republican. So he's right on those facts. So at the same time, the demographics have been shifting in favor of the Democrats all this time. So yeah, it's not 8 years ago or 16 years ago. It's much better demographically for the Democrats. Pennsylvania wasn't in play.
Not in Pennsylvania, though.
Oh, sure it is. All across the country it is. So, no, what happened? Did Pennsylvania magically get so much whiter than the rest of the country?
Have you been there?
Yes, I have actually.
It's pretty white.
No, so, no. There's no Republican-leaning demographic. Nate, prove me wrong if I'm wrong about this. That where Pennsylvania magically became more Republican as the rest of the country was becoming more Democrat. So, for any Democrat to be losing to any Republican in Pennsylvania at this point in the election is concerning. I would say it's deeply concerning.
I agree.
And then for any Democrat to be losing to Donald frickin' Trump in Pennsylvania at this point in the election is massively concerning. Look, John, I'm not saying this because I'm rooting against Hillary Clinton. I'm saying this because
I don't care about rooting.
No, I know. Of course I know you don't, right? But I'm saying this, that if I am on Clinton's team right now, my hair would be on fire.
Yes, and it should
I'd be like red flags everywhere. What in the God's green earth? Now, very important context before I give you more devastating numbers, okay, is that, yes, this was a very, very bad stretch for her. James Comey comes out and says all the things she did wrong. No, she doesn't get indicted, so that's great news for her. That would have been catastrophic. But everything else was bad. And then Republicans have hearings. And her number one problem is that she's untrustworthy. Yeah. And so now this adds to the untrustworthiness. Oh, she did send classified emails. People think she lied about that. Her defenders say not lied, but it's not a great argument you want to have in public.
And even not being indicted is a big discussion about whether she should have been indicted or not.
That's right.
I've even heard her described as crooked Hillary. It's gotten bad for her.
So now I get that if you're a Democrat, you're hoping that's a nadir, and that you are going to rise up from that.
Not a Ralph Nader.
No, right. You're certainly not hoping for that kind of Nader. But in this case, you're thinking, no, okay, all right, don't panic. But at the same time, you got to go. And it turns out that money isn't working because she's pouring in millions of dollars to those swing states. Again, it's not determinative. They'll pour in a lot more money towards the end. But I would be concerned. I'd be concerned. I poured in millions of dollars. He hasn't done anything because he's broke. And yet it's
losing.
not moving the numbers. In fact, it's moving the opposite direction.
Maybe without the money, maybe she'd be losing in those states.
But look, now
like
let me.
positive or whatever,
Okay, the one positive poll for her is better prepared. She crushes them. So I'll give you one example. In Florida, it's 53-37. That's a giant lead for Hillary Clinton. And great, that's good, that's important. She's
Apparently
better
there was
prepared.
no one at his staff headquarters in Florida. No one even could answer a phone there. He doesn't have employees in Florida.
He's enormously incompetent. But on honest and trustworthy, oof. In Florida, he beats her 50-37. Ohio, he beats her 47-37. Pennsylvania, he beats her 49-34. Trump is one of the most dishonest men I have ever seen, not in politics, in life.
Yes.
And he's beating the Democratic candidate by 15 points in Pennsylvania on honest and trustworthy. Giant red flag. If you know anything about polling, anything about politics, he should have every red flag there is at the DNC and be waving it right now.
And look, he's using that too. I saw him tweet that he was beating her on trustworthiness in Pennsylvania 70-30. He tweeted that.
He would do that. He would lie about that, and he'd still beat her. Okay, most effective versus ISIS, he wins by giant margins, like 22 points in Florida, 11 points in Ohio. Job creation, he's winning by 15 points in Florida, 15 points actually in Florida, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. He's winning on ISIS, quote unquote, keeping us safe. Job creation, trustworthiness, these are very, very bad signs.
That's crazy.
Okay, now look, I don't want to get back into we told you so, we did, and then later you'll blame us when you picked the Democratic Party establishment picked a very, very poor candidate. You guys did that. We didn't do that. Yes, it's your fault, but we're past that. What we're trying to tell you now is watch out. Take every precaution you need to take because you morons are about to make Donald Trump president.
Yeah.